Hello, beautiful people of Wisconsin. It's a windy, gorgeous, beautiful little day. What is it, 60s, 70s? I don't know, it's just wonderful out. I'm out here in front of a little-known commodity down here in the Caledonia Racine area. I'm moving over toward the sign. Shooters! The Shooters Sports Center. Yeah. Anyway, I'm here to talk about guns today specifically, okay? So the reality of the situation is, I don't believe that any candidate should ever scrub their website of their support for guns if you're on the Republican side, okay? The reality of the situation is, we have people who hunt up here. There's no problems with hunting, really. There's nothing at all. They just hunt, okay? That's what they do. Okay, we've hunted our whole entire existence as humans. I don't really believe in regulation. If I'm chosen as the nominee and elected as governor, I'm going to see those pesky little maintenance fees, you know, the junk fees wiped away. You know, you want to renew your gun? Oh, you're gonna charge you for that. We're gonna, fee you for that. We're gonna make it harder on you. I don't think that's really constitutional or really fair at all. I think we have the right to have guns, and that's a unique thing in our country. Frankly speaking, it breaks my heart whenever there's a tragedy, whether it's children getting killed. I think it's disgusting. It's very mental health, very gross, very nasty overall, but it's not a gun issue. The guns themselves aren't doing it. We have 400 million guns in the US, and there's not nearly as many crimes happening with the guns. The guns that are occurring and committing the crimes are on the street guns, or they are guns that are not put in safe places, that are accessed by young children for some reason, the mentally ill, you name it, right? Or background checks for gun stores that don't do their job, and they give out the guns and they're in trouble now because they gave out a gun without going through the proper means. We should have background checks. We should go through the proper means. I just don't think you should be giving it to the mentally ill. Absolutely not. So when it comes to the Second Amendment, I don't think you should scrub it at all. Now, part of Milwaukee County is, guess what? I don't know why I was so screechy like that. Part of Milwaukee County is we have one cop for every 200,000 people. We don't have a police force in Milwaukee County, really. It's very, very lax, very, very small budget. They aren't even allowed to get their proper payments. I think that's disgusting and wrong. So the reality of the situation is, if somebody's breaking in your house and you live in Milwaukee County, or you have to get police from Milwaukee County, you might be waiting an hour for a break-in. So do you have an hour? No. They break your window, they find a way to get in, they come in with their own weapon, or they do what they're going to do to you, or they steal or whatever, and the police are coming by afterwards. They're coming by a little bit late. They could try to get there quick, but we have a police force that is very, very small and overwhelmed and just not ready to handle what is going on in Milwaukee County, okay? And I'm reckoning it's probably not that different in Dane, considering it's a big area. The police force isn't exactly taken care of by the Democrats or people in, left-leaning cities like Milwaukee or Dane. So the reality of the situation is, what do you do? What do you do in that situation? Well, I have a wife. I want to protect my wife. The other day, we came to this little shooting center, and me and my wife, for the first time, my second time shooting, her first time shooting, got to shoot guns. It's an interesting little experience to experience in your life. And I encourage anybody who is for gun control to just go out and go to a shooting range, rent a gun, and see how many bullets can go into a single pistol. Because you'd be surprised when there's 14 bullets in a pistol. You're talking about mass shooting guns. Pistols are very common. You're trying to get rid of all guns. That's what it really boils down to. In Milwaukee County, I'm telling you right now, we can't even get security in the schools. Metal detectors, can't get it. Milwaukee County Democrats will block it left and right, okay? So our kids aren't protected. We aren't really arming our teachers who care most about the children, or should. If they're teachers, they went to school for years to take care of kids and educate the next generation. I got a lot of respect for that, by the way. Teachers are amazing, okay? I've been teaching in a little kids class at my church, my local church, and I think it's an amazing thing. So the reality situation with the gun thing is, if I'm chosen, the gun fees are going to go away. In Milwaukee, in Dane, you need to be able to protect your property, your wife, your children, your home. None of this concept of wait for an hour for the police. I think that's incredibly wrong. And so, again, we saw on the news the other day a horrifying story. A person was simply in a little car accident. They had 5 seconds to start shooting because the person whipped them in the face and started trying to shoot him with a gun. Just another day out here in the high-speed 60-mile-an-hour range, right? So the reality of the situation is, what do you do when you have 15 seconds to live? You get a gun. You protect yourself, you protect your children, you protect your family. There's responsible ways of doing it. 99% of gun owners are not going out there shooting people. They're not going door-to-door hunting anybody. They're doing it fair, they're doing it right, they're doing it correct. They go through the process. They get the fees, they go through the regulations, they do all the background checks. They want to protect their family, protect what's theirs. I would imagine most Wisconsinites would want to protect theirs as well. So for anybody out there who's thinking about burying their past support for guns, know this: both Republicans and Democrats are at record highs getting guns. And that could be a little dangerous, I reckon. And you never know where you're going to be at, that you might need a gun to protect yourself. And so if you're doing it right and fair, I have no problems with that at all. And so I would seek to make it so that they're accessible, background checks, but I wouldn't have people being feed or junk feed or regulated or anything like that. Because the reality situation is when someone gets a gun, they're protecting their family, protecting their home, protecting their private property. Maybe they are trying to save lives. Again, church shootings where people are going to shoot churches and somebody whips out a gun and saves the church. I think that's a good thing. Okay? So that's it. All right? I'm completely for the idea of guns. And I have no problem with it. People hunt with them, no problem. We don't see shootings every day. Every once in a while it happens, and that's more of a mental health problem. We can address that later. But the reality situation is, do proper background checks. Secure our schools, secure the places that make the most sense. Why are hospitals having more security than schools? I think that's disgusting. My little sister's at a school where she's less safe than a hospital. It makes no sense. And you know the rich and the powerful and the politicians, they have private security. We can't afford that. As the average man and women in Wisconsin, we have to protect our wives, our husbands, our children. We don't know who we're going to run into in the street. You could have 5 to 10 seconds. How are you going to call the police in 10 seconds before getting shot? You're not. You need to protect yourself. You're not going to go out there shooting people because, again, I think as humans, we go from one generation to the next and we have this certain laws that God has instilled in us. And one of those things is just common morals. Don't kill your fellow humans. Don't steal, right? We've heard it all. There are laws today for a reason. And so that's it.